Captain on the bridge.
Alrighty, captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, yes, we continue on with our Star Trek Day tribute, and now it is part 7, and we are back on the NX-01, the Enterprise. So here we go. So our last ship that we did was the Kelvin timeline Enterprise, and now, again, we're just going from the beginning to the end here, going from right to left. And this is where we are now. So, Captain, this series has been super fun. It's been so much positivity in the comments. Thank you so much. So, we're going to continue on with that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the nostalgia nugget when you hail the Enterprise, go over the scenes where we're taking inspiration for the build, go over the build itself, the weapons, space set, consoles, traits, stations, DOFs, and then take it into our gala. This had me a little scratch in my head a little bit in what I wanted to do on this, because I have done multiple builds on this, and I'm pretty happy with what we came with here. So here we go. So view the NX-01 Enterprise. Again, no audio file, but that's okay. So we'll find a way through this, but I won't leave anyone behind, not if I can help it. I can't try to save humanity without holding on to what makes me human. Would have been nice if that was an audio file. In 2151, before the Federation had even been formed, the first Starfleet ship to bear the name Enterprise was launched. She was the first ship capable of going Warp 5. A huge leap forward technologically. This experimental new ship was meant to be on a test run until an encounter with a Klingon changed everything. Under the command of Jonathan Archer, she served with distinction until 2161, when she was retired with full honors. During her historic voyage in the stars, she was instrumental in protecting humanity from many threats, including the Xindi weapon. So, notable crew members, there's Jonathan Archer, there's T'Pol, Charles Tucker III, Malcolm Reed, Travis Mayweather, Hoshi Sato, Hoshi, what? And Phlox. So Star Trek Enterprise aired from 26 September 2001 to 13 May 2005 for a total of 97 episodes. The last show to carry the Star Trek banner for 12 years, Enterprise told the story of one of the least explored eras in Star Trek history, the time before the founding of the Federation. This low-tech, character-focused take on Star Trek boldly went into the future of television. Refusing to let the torch burn out, it is remembered for its excellent take on classic Trek stories and for its depiction of events that led to the formation of the United Federation of Planets. So there you go, captains. Now, this ship, I didn't necessarily like it at first, like most, but then, yes, it grew on me. And the reason being, one of the reasons is the pylons. They were slanted back, they were swept back, and I probably would have appreciated if it was straight. And of course, this did look a little bit more, but I can't say advanced, but again, when you go from this hull plating to the sort of smooth hull plating of the TOS era, it kind of felt a little disconnected to me personally, but it still grew on me, and I'm glad we have her. So here we go. What we're going to do is go over the scenes where we took inspiration for this tribute here. So here we go. Again, no volume because we don't want to be copyrighted. So we're going to look at 4 scenes here, and then we're going to go over the build. So here's the first one. Of course, the Enterprise is coming out of dock there. Ooh, looks good. And captains, this, I believe, took a lot of inspiration from the AKIRA, which, captains, is one of my favorite ships, especially from First Contact. And all they did necessarily was just kind of flip it over, and there you go. You got your NX. So in this scene, it's firing missile. This was kind of early on in the series there. and it was using missiles here. So that's what we're taking inspiration from, where it's firing missiles at its enemy, and it was pretty weak. It didn't do much there, but it did fire from the fore and aft. But we only, so there's that scene. So we're gonna use the missiles. Next up is the phase cannons. In this scene, they overloaded. As you can see, they're firing two at the same time, and I'm glad we do have this weapon in game. So there's the inspiration for that. And of course, this is the scene where they say it is overloaded. Again, we don't want to get copyrighted, so there's that. This scene here is it firing single beams broadsiding. So that's going to play a part in the build. So this is the scene here that the NX versus the Borg there. So there you go. It was just a quick two-hitter. And again, it was kind of the phaser, the yellow, the sort of yellow, the orangish phasers that it fired. We can get that one more time, sweeping here, bam, bam. So there's that. And the last scene here is the Cindy War. And we're going to take some things here as well. Here's the Enterprise. There you go, firing now photon torpedoes. And of course, still phasers. Now it would choose to just fire sometimes single phasers just like that, and photon still. So again, this is where we took inspiration from for this. So let's get back here onto the bridge. Then go over the build. So I just named it the USS Enterprise, just like the other Enterprises there. But this is the NX Escort Refit Tier 6. Now, I got this from the exchange. This is the version that you can get from the low-buy store, captains. But we also do have the legendary version, which you can get from the 10th anniversary bundle. But we chose to go to the first version we got of this ship. So here you go, the 4 weapons here. We're going to use the wide arc phase cannons. So we actually have, I do like the look of these because they're very, very thin phasers. I wish that the regular phasers would be this thin, and you will see the difference, captains, when this is fired alongside with the other phaser that we have going on with it. So it is a wide arc dual heavy phase cannon, which you can get from the low-buy store. So I did not hesitate one bit when this came out. So here it is, the spatial torpedo launcher, of course, 22nd century. And we just re-rolled these to the crit DM for the phase cannons, damage 3 because of the arc mod. This one we went crit DM at damage 4, again from the low-buy store. Now this does give you a 2-piece when you use these two, and it gives you careless overload. So target self, 2-minute recharge, enable careless overload firing mode for phase cannons and spatial torpedo. For 10 seconds, it's an AOE firing mode with increased damage. Upon firing mode expiration, phase cannon spatial torpedo offline for 10 seconds. Now, we're not going to use that because I do not like the visuals of it. It is pretty cool, but it's not what I'm going for. And essentially what I'm going for is what we saw there in those scenes of the NX on screen. And for the photon torpedo, this is what we're going to use, the prolonged engagement photon torpedo. And this we got from an event reward, but you can get this from the Phoenix prize pack. I believe they're very rare tier. And we're pairing it with the prolonged engagement phaser beam array, which again, we also got from the event, but you can get this from the Phoenix prize pack. Why? Because just because. Something different to use. Why not? Now the 2-piece of this actually does give you a 7.5% recharge time on all bridge officer abilities. Now, the space set, we chose something different. The reason being is, captains, you know that I love using the innovated impulse engines from the competition rep, but in doing so, it makes the ship kind of move kind of herky-jerky. So what we wanted to do was just do something else that would boost our damage or energy weapons. And we wouldn't be moving so herky-jerky, and plus it's kind of older technology, so I just kind of wanted to sort of concentrate on that. So what did we go with? Kind of an old school meta here. The NUCARA deflector from your NUCARA rep. And the NUCARA impulse engines. Now the two-piece of this gives you plus 5% bonus energy weapon damage. Weapon stabilizers automatically remove weapons disabled. So again, maybe not old meta, but something that was widely used back in when I started there. So that's why I do have it. I don't even have this all the way up to Mark 15. So there you go. Warp core, we're just going to use the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp from your Fleet Spire. Shields, nothing. Why? Because all they had there on the Enterprise was what? Polarized hull and armor plating. That's it. So this could be interesting. We could actually blow up here for the first time in the series. So we'll see. After weapons, this is what we went with. Just a normal advanced fleet photon torpedo from your fleet starbase. We rolled re-eng to crit DM damage 4. And again, we're just using the Agony Phaser beam array there. Rolled to crit DM damage 4. I just got this off the exchange. And with it being fore and aft, we'll get that broadside firing that we saw in that one scene. Experimental weapon, I did not put anything here. I didn't want to. Because visually, I didn't feel like it was going for the look we wanted. So a lot of experimental weapons sometimes I don't use unless I'm going for max performance. We are not going for max performance here. We are going for max cannon look. Well, as canon as we can be. So a lot of things that we try to do is have the weapons look the part, but anything underneath the hood is free game. So could be boosting your weapons, your survivability, whatever have you. That's kind of how our thought process works, because we're more focused on the looks. But again, keep in mind, Captain, this is just a game, so it's gonna look like a game. Okay, so devices, we'll continue on here. We're gonna go with our energy candy here for the plus 20% bonus energy weapon damage for 20 seconds. Red matter capacitor. And then for our console, this is what we did. So pretty standard of what you've seen so far. But again, we're just trying to boost performance as best as we can. We're going with the binaural infusion circuits from the low-buy store. Plus 26.2% crit severity. Our ordnance accelerator for the plus 26.3 projectile and phaser damage. Captains, did you notice I like phasers? What? We're going to go with our dynamic power distributing module. This you can get from the prototype Dreadnought, aka the Atlas, which you can get from your event reward. We do need this for the 11.3 all damage resistance rating, for the plus 19% directed energy damage, and for the oh crap clicky, because for 20 seconds, we're going to get plus 40% bonus damage while our hull is above 80%, plus 100 bonus damage resistance rating, and plus 500% hull regen. Okay, and we're going to pair it with the console that comes with this ship, or any version of the NX. The Point Defense Bombardment Warhead. So plus 25% projectile damage, plus 1% critical chance. That's cute. The two-piece of this, of course, will give us what? The plus 33% phaser damage. So that's, again, boosting our energy weapons. Then we have the next up here, the Domino from the Bajoran Interceptor, which you can get from your Phoenix prize pack. Epic tier, we got this as an event reward. Plus 15% phaser damage, plus 20 AC rating. But when we click it for 10 seconds, 25% fire cycle haste for energy weapons, plus 25% bonus all damage, plus 25% recharge speed for bridge officer abilities, and plus 100% recharge speed for torpedo weapons. So this is going to help a lot. And in that time, you defeat a foe, plus 2 seconds for duration to all effects. They're not bad. Then we're going to use its little brother, the M6 computer, which comes from your Tier 3 Temporal Escort, which you can get from your shipyard. Okay, for the plus 15% bonus all damage for 15 seconds, 25% cooldown reduction on tactical bridge officer abilities, 20% fire cycle haste for all weapon for 15 seconds, and then plus 30 AC and defense for 15 seconds. For the tactical consoles here, we went with weaponized helical torsion for the plus 15% phaser damage and 15% critical severity. This we got from the legendary crossfield that we got from our 10th anniversary bundle. So not bad. And of course, when you hit this, it looks like a sprinkler head. So yes, you'll probably see that effect, captains. And for the tactical consoles here, just because we don't have any shields, this is what we're using. The Tactical Energetic Protomatter Matrix Infuser for kinetic and phaser. This will give us plus 39.4% phaser damage, but also plus 6.5% projectile weapon damage. Chance to gain a stack of hull/shield, well, hull, healing when activating special firing modes for energy weapons, max, and stacks. 25% chance to self applies restorative protomatter matrix. So this is going to help us hopefully stay alive, and we get this from our colony, fleet colony. So there we go. Stat wise, we have our crit chance at 28.9% and crit severity at 176.3%. Now, Pandevra wise, we have that helping us because we are ranked at 600. So keep that in mind, captains. Skill wise, specialization, this is what we went with this time. So the Miracle Worker and primary and Temporal Operative secondary, and we're using this for the benefit of survivability. And also, if we had Intelligence Officer on right now, without our shield, you would hear the sound of shields coming on every 5 seconds, which kind of gets to you after a while. So this is what we decided to do here. Traits, nothing too different, but here we go. Good Day to Die, superior projectile training, superior beam training, and as you can see, we're trying to boost both and trying to sprinkle in a little survivability where we can. So Intelligent Agent Attaché, and we're going to use Context is for Kings for the stacking damage resistance rating. We're going to need that. Resonating Payload Modification, Self-Modulating Fire, Terran Targeting Systems, Unconventional Systems, and the Boimler Effect. For our Starship traits, and you notice, captains, I did not Tier 6X this one. We have our Emergency Weapon Cycle, Ceaseless Momentum, Universal Designs, Supercharged Weapons, and Super Weapon Ingenuity to increase our beam overload. Base Reputation, this is what we decided. Torpedo Pre-Fire Sequence to help boost our torpedo damage. Tyler's Duality, Advanced Targeting Systems, Magnified Firepower. So this one we decided to put in there for the plus 6.3 bonus weapon damage. And Precision. Active Space Reputation, Biomolecular Shield Generator, Deploy Sensor Interface Platform, Quantum Singularity Manipulation, Fracturing Tetron Cascade, and Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. Stations, this is what we came up with, left to right, top to bottom. So here we go, we got Polarize Hull 1 is what we put here. So target self, and we have a recharge time 41.9 seconds, so plus 50.8 all damage resistance rating for 15 seconds. Hopefully this is enough. We're gonna go Heisenberg Amplifier and Scramble Sensors. Distributed Targeting. Attack Pattern Beta 1. This actually is going to help us as a heal, and we'll get to that when we get to our Dupes. Beam Overload 3. Captains, you know I love my Beam Overload. And Attack Pattern Omega 3. Now, with Attack Pattern Omega 3, you get all those buff goodness right there, 15 seconds, plus 24.9% bonus all damage, 116.6% flight speed and turn rate, but also the 37.5 all damage resistance rating, plus 45 defense rating, so that's going to hopefully help us as well. Torpedoes, we have High Yield 1, and scatter volley here. Actually, you know what? Let's change this one. Let's go. We're going to change this in real time. We're going to go to high yield and go here, chemosite for ensign. So we're going to switch it up. I forgot that I took off preferential targeting, so we don't have that anymore. So we're going to go chemosite, laser weaponry, and high yield 2, which fires 3 torpedoes, which we saw the NX do in those scenes. So emergency power to engines, auxiliary power to structural integrity field. So again, for some damage resistance rating, and emergency power to weapons 3. For our last station here, we have tractor beam. So we're just quickly go here to the status loadouts and save this just because we made the change. Bam. So that's our stations. Now we go to our dupes. So the 2 on ground helping us in space, of course, Neil Falconer, increased damage versus Zeeberg, which is kind of fitting because the NX did actually fight the Borg. Elder Milikatan, increased damage versus all. Active space, this is what we got. So we got the 2 energy weapons officers. Okay, 1 gives a chance to stack crit severity when we fire energy weapons. The other, a chance to stack crit chance when we fire energy weapons. 2 projectile weapons officers for a chance for both of them to give us stacking crit severity when we fire projectiles. Now we're going to use Agent Nerul here. So shield distribution officer, attack pattern beta restores hull when firing. So hopefully this DOF is going to help us a little bit with healing and survivability. I actually got this DOF from the Delta Rising pack. So didn't even know he was in there. It's been useful ever since. So we're going to hope it helps us here. So there is the build. Again, captains, please keep in mind that this is just for fun, just like the series that we've been keeping up to this point. All of the builds up to this point and until the end is just going to be based on scenes where we take inspiration from that and then apply it here as best as we can for just the visual pew-pews, but most importantly, just for fun. So we're just going to keep it under advanced. Let's see how we do here. We're going to go into our favored elite Argala, or sorry, advanced Argala, and see how it does. Again, I am just going for visual here, just like the rest of the series that we've done here, and hopefully we get what we're going for. So here we go. So again, I didn't put the innovated because I just wanted to move naturally. Ooh. So there's the missiles, the photons, the phasers, phase cannon. See, we're moving almost like the NX, kind of slowly, and I'm okay with that. We're gonna save our big buffs for the other group here. Woo. There we go. So far so good. So here we go.
Looks like our fight got them to notice us. Let's go over and ask.
We're gonna fully buff up. See how we do against multiple targets here. Ooh. Ooh. Yes. That looks good to me, captains. It almost is moving almost the speed of the NX. As you see, captains here, the phase cannons are skinnier than regular phasers, and I kind of like that, and I kind of wish that the phasers would be that skinny visually. Ooh, that looks good. This is so much fun. I like what I'm seeing, Caps. The pew-pews is real. Hey, look how skinny those beams are. Ooh!
You will stand down.
Passing the explosion, very Star Trek-y.
Sensors are picking up small habitations in some of the asteroids. Possibly
There's that helical torsion and water sprinkler. Sorry, I call it water sprinkler. Next ship up here. I mean, we're doing pretty good. I should put this. Got to put this on my hotbar. Still, even without those special fire modes, we've been doing good. There you go. Let's make our wide turn here. I almost prefer the slow turn, to be honest, captains. As spoiled as we are with the innervated impulse engines, this feels more Star Trek to me, personally. There we go. Last group. All right, here we go. And this is one of the reasons why I did use Miracle Worker. Look at it. Give her all she's got. It is also a good heal and all the goodness it gives there. And it was just there just in case. So we'll fully buff up here. Having our phase cannons fire, our torpedoes, our photons, our phasers. Love it. Have our aft photon fire, just like the NX did on the show. Woo! Woo! Yes! That's so good. So good. Alright, let's go over here, captains. Oh, 1 sec, sir. We're gonna go over here, take our shelfies. Captains, if you don't know what that is, those are our ship selfies. Go over here and give our final conclusions. Find a nice spot here that we can have a good look at the NX here. And there you go, captains. There is the build. That is how it did, and we couldn't be more happier on how well it performed, because we didn't die. Now keep in mind, captains, it was under advanced. Could it do elite? Probably take a little longer. I'd probably have to pilot a little bit better, but for the most part, captains, our nightly PP shenanigans is under advanced, especially with my fellow captains. So keeping that in mind, that is how I play. Okay, captains, this is why I do these builds, because they are for how I play. Now you can take these as well and kind of apply it to the way you do, the way you play, and that's totally fine. At the end of the day, captains, this is just for fun. And again, I'm doing this series of builds because this is my tribute to Star Trek Day, and it gives me a reason just to have fun and immerse myself in the Star Trek universe. This time going back to the NX-01, the Enterprise. So captains, again, we're going to continue on here until we reach the end there. So this is our part 7. Our next vid will be the part 8. I believe it's going to be the Discovery, but this is how the NX did. Highly recommend if you can get this ship. It's really fun. This is the low-buy version, and it's just a good ship to have in my fleet, and I enjoy it thoroughly. So like the video, captains, comment below, subscribe to the YouTube Bridge, and we will leave it on this note.
Don't let them promote you. Don't let them transfer you. Don't let them do anything that takes you off the bridge of that ship, because while you're there, you can make a difference.